Okay, we are live.
All righty, very good. Well, welcome everyone to the Lorraine Public Library System Board of Trustee meeting. Today is Thursday, May the 21st, 2020, and we will be bringing our meeting to order. Before I do that, I'm going to ask if we have any members who have a conflict of interest with today's agenda. All righty, hearing none, we'll have roll call.
Dr. Bedelio,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Here, yes.
Ms. McClellan,
Present.
Ms. Snipes,
Yes.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
okay, Ms. Sheeman, Ethel, okay, I see her, and Dr. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
So item 2020-038, approval of the minutes of the April 22nd meeting. Before you do a first and a second, we're going to ask that you state your name clearly. So we need
Torres first.
Torres first,
Ethel second.
Ethel second, okay. All right. Do you want me to do roll?
please.
Okay. Dr. Bedelio,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Ms. McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Snipes,
Yes.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Ms. Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-039, approval of the fiscal officer report.
Okay. The April financials were included in your packets, and the following are the highlights for April. We have 15 million, almost 15,900,000 cash balance at month end, 11,662,000 cash balance in our operating funds, and 10 million unencumbered. Unencumbered cash balances as of April 30th was 13,763,000. Revenues year to date are at 2,728,000, which was 5.5% estimated annual revenues without advances or transfers. Expenses were at 2,300,000, which was 16.1% of estimated expenses without advances or transfers. Expenses with encumbrances is at 4,500,000, which was 31.5% of annual estimated expenses. So we're well below on expenses, the 33% target. The library has received all its property tax payments, and the amounts received were equal or close to what was budgeted. They were all a little bit over, not under. PLF revenue for April was 248,238, which is 2.56% less than what we received last year. And for May, it was $287,022, which is 54.43% less than what we received last year. Obviously, it's the reduction in economic activity since mid-March, combined with the postponement of the state income tax filing date from April 15th to July 15th. And it reduced the state general revenue fund tax revenue. Since Ohio extended the filing deadline to July 15th, we are hoping to see some recovery of PLF in August. The OLC, as well as the state auditor, has recommended that we budget for 2021 that we decrease our projections for PLF by 20%. So we'll have to start discussing how we're going to cut the budget. We've already started some things, and we'll keep discussing it. And it's just not us, everybody, all political subdivisions in Ohio is being affected.
Okay.
And that's the end of my report. I'm sorry, that's the end.
Okay, any questions for Lisa? Hearing none, we'll take roll.
Oh, I didn't have a first or a second.
I need a first.
Tiffany?
Ethel,
Dr.
so moved.
Badillo first.
Ethel second.
Okay. All right. Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Miss McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Snipes,
Yes.
Miss Torres,
Yes.
Miss Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Moving on, we will go to the report of the director, Anastasia.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to talk about was the CFO search. So a couple hours ago, I sent out the packets of the applicants that you all can with next week and the proposed interview questions. So I had a really great conversation with Ryan Pendleton today. They feel really good about, particularly in this environment, the quality of candidates that applied for the position. So we're feeling really good about the candidates that have been sent to you. So all the details about how we're going to conduct those interviews is in the email that I forwarded. But I just wanted to say it's good. And he's been really clear with all the candidates that we're looking at a July 1st start date. Now that could shift based on what kind of notice, the candidate would have to give, but he's just been it's been really great talking with him because he understands exactly, he's been really good in telling the candidates, he knows about us. So, these different funding streams, people, if they come in and think it's going to be like an easy type job, it's, he's just being really clear with everyone about the complexities of our system, which is great. We definitely want the person coming in to understand and really be excited about that instead of being intimidated by it. So feeling good about that. I wanted to, so Lisa's telling you the bad news about the money we aren't going to have, but I'm going to tell you some good news about money that we are recently getting. So we received $10,000 from the COVID-19 response fund from the Lorraine Community Foundation. That's our partnership with Neighborhood Alliance and the Lorraine County Public Health and the Office on Aging. So I know I talked about that before. We actually received the funds. Lisa told me about the check today, so we actually got it. And that's to help us work with seniors in the area to supply them with devices and internet access to help bridge those, folks are socially isolated, those places where they used to be able to go, like the senior centers, they can't go to anymore. So we're trying to work with these partners to figure out who can most benefit from this. So it's been really good. And so far, Neighborhood Alliance has identified, because they've identified people in Kipton, Lorraine, Sheffield, Avon Lake, Oberlin. I mean, they're just all over the county. So it's really good. We're going to be able to help some folks with that. And we found out over the weekend that we received our funding from the Stalker Foundation. So originally we had, and I know I've shared this with you, we'd originally put forward a proposal to Stalker Foundation to do the passport to kindergarten. And Stalker, they took a look at all of this and realized with COVID-19 that they wanted to give everyone who was applying for grants an opportunity to rethink their proposals, and they were really broad about what we could propose. So because we're getting really good at getting these digital inclusion projects up and running, we decided to approach them with a proposal for digital inclusion project where we're partnering with LMHA, our friend Homer Bearden, and targeting households that contain young children. So we know that that's really important. The outcomes for the, parents are tied to the outcomes of the kids. So we are discussing potential sites where we could target this. And we're looking at Southside Gardens right now. And right now LMHA is looking into, which families in that particular property have internet access, who don't. And then we're going to go from there. So we're excited about that. That's a really great thing. And finally, we are looking into applying for a grant from IMLS. So that's the federal funding. And they received $50 million as part of the CARES Act to fund libraries and museums just across the country. So I attended a webinar yesterday on it. They're very broad in how they're thinking about this, which is great. So we're going to look into the digital inclusion work that we're doing and try to put together a proposal and put forward, how we can do this. So that's the model right now. We know the digital inclusion is really important, and we want to find other ways to fund that rather than using our funds that we have now, if we can get grants to do that. So I wanted to bring up, I know that if you look at our stats report, it looks really bleak because there's a lot of negatives and there's a lot of zeros in there. However, one thing that is a really good measure of our impact is the 3,610 Wi-Fi sessions that occurred during the month of April. So when you think about that, that's with not even having our buildings open. So that means someone has to come to our parking lot, be close enough to the building to access that Wi-Fi. So we heard anecdotally that kids were coming to do homework. So Donna was telling us that when she was at the branch working, that there was a mom and kids sitting in the car in the parking lot doing homework. And people are doing resumes, work, the same kind of things they would be doing in the building. So it's really great that we've been able to extend that even further into the parking lot. So even when our buildings are closed, there is that impact. And I wanted to bring that to your attention. And since we met last, we have passed the Avon levy, which is very exciting. And that we received the official election results last week, and it passed at a rate of 60%, which is great. We're very pleased. And yesterday, because we want to get this project going, we issued an RFQ for an owner's rep. So similar to what we are doing for the kitchen project, when we looked into what it's going to take to actually do this, an owner's rep is going to be crucial for us, managing all of those the design professionals, the construction managers, all of that kind of stuff. So we put that out on the street, and we're hoping to have that. I think June 5th might be the deadline for that. And we're hoping to have a candidate or an owner's rep identified to be able to bring that to you in June. And if not in June, maybe we'll ask for a special board meeting to be able to hire that person, because that's key before we do anything else, is getting an owner's rep on board. And Lisa and I are talking with Bricker and Eckler tomorrow regarding, we're getting started with the conversations around the legal issues related to Avon. So like, we lease the building as opposed to owning it. How's that going to change things? And, we're just getting going on the Avon project, which is really exciting to be able to even talk about. So really happy about that. And when Lisa mentioned cost savings, I just wanted to share a couple things that we've been talking about and working on here. So Michael's going to talk about the actual shared work program a little bit more when you're considering that. But we know that we're going to be able to save just over $163,000 over the 6 weeks that we are right now scheduled to participate in this. Now it goes on for 52 weeks, so we could potentially extend that. But for right now, we know that's going to be a savings for us, which is great. And the library did offer the retirement incentive program. And initially we only had 2 people accept, but then we had 6 more people come forward and say they wanted to participate. So the fiscal office did an analysis to figure out what's the actual impact of that. So of the 8 employees who decided to take the incentive, we're not going to fill 4 of those positions. And even of the other 4, we will probably delay filling at least 2 of those positions. So in general, that's going to save us just for the rest of the year, $75,000 just in that there. But overall, just not filling those 4 positions, which is that's our plan right now, will save $153,000 a year in, benefits, salary, all of that. And that was really nice for the fiscal office to put that together. So it just gives you an idea. I mean, we run really lean compared to other libraries, and we just don't have a lot of fat to cut, particularly in personnel. So to even be able to do that, I think, we take all that very seriously. And that's just kind of been LPLS's, that's just been our way, And so anyway, there is some cost savings there from that ERI, and we thought that would be it, but to see it actually in dollars and cents and to understand how that's going to help, that's really good. And I know I mentioned last month some of the things we were going to be reducing. And so that's the materials budget, the travel, of course, and, delaying about $400,000 of the capital expenses. So when you add all those things together, we can save $788,000 for the rest of the year just doing those things. So we had assumed that we would have about a $1 million gap And we don't know exactly what that's going to be. Like Lisa said, there'll be some recovery, but I feel really confident with these moves right now that we're in a good position for the rest of the year. So it's a lot of talking, but that's my report. I got to talk a lot, guys. What can I say? Do you have any questions?
Okay, there are no questions for
Great.
Anastasia. Thank you. It sounds like that we are definitely on the right track, especially with all of the things that are happening out there. And it's always nice to hear how our patrons still are using the library services, especially with the internet and e-media, which is very popular. We have no committee reports at this time, so we'll move into audience participation, and we will talk to Cheryl Brazell.
Okay, I remembered to unmute myself this time, so that's good. I will keep this brief. We were talking a little bit earlier about how our patrons are still getting value from us, and I'm just so happy to tell you that we've taken the first step on the path towards reopening for the public. This Monday, the 18th, I almost said the 15th, but Monday the 18th, we began our curbside service at all of our locations, which runs Monday through Saturday from 1 to 6. At that time, somebody can come. We have designated parking spots with clear signage, thanks to Rick and his department, with instructions for people to call when they arrive, and we have safe delivery of items. And so far, it was a little bit slow on Monday, but the word has gotten out and people are calling regularly and stopping by. I was at North Ridgeville earlier today, and I was only there for about 20 minutes, and we had 3 cars come out. And yesterday, the day before when I was at Columbia, Ethel and I saw a lady there who was very excited that we were open and couldn't wait to return her books and get more. So we've heard from quite a few families who are just thrilled. There's a lot of kids at home. It's not just adults who are the avid readers. There's a lot of kids who are going stir crazy, and they're just so happy to be able to get some fresh books to read and other items. So that's really great. And of course, as we go through this, our priority is the safety of the staff and the community and doing everything the right way. So we're just really happy that we could take this first step for people. And the other good news I have is that after some coordinating, we got the contract signed and delivered to the union today. So that's done, and we're very happy about the agreement, and it was a great experience. So I wanted to provide you an update on that as well. That's it. I told you I'd be short.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheryl, I do have a question for you. This is Gloria.
Okay.
How has the response by the patrons versus, the mandate that we do have, and how have the staff, how do you find their morale, or how are they feeling with opening up and
in regard to coming back?
Yes.
I think it was natural at first. I mean, there was a mixed reaction at first, not that anybody didn't want to come back and provide the service, but that there's just a general level of apprehension coming back. However, we were very thorough with our training. Anastasia held a town hall, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, just to assuage some lingering fears or uncertainties and answer questions. So thanks to the managers and then the efforts on the leadership team to have those sorts of sessions, I feel like people, they know they can get an answer and they know they're being heard. So a lot of it was just uncertainties. We've been planning behind the scenes for this for quite some time, but they don't see us planning behind the scenes. So they just, well, what if we do this, or what about that? And I think it goes a long way that we were able to answer those questions, that we had some well thought out plans. And I've heard from a lot of staff members that they're just ecstatic to be back. They miss the customers, and they're just really, really happy to see each other from a social distance that's acceptable, and to start serving the public again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for Cheryl? Alrighty, the Friends of the Library, of course, none of us are meeting. Foundation will meet on July the 20th. We'll either meet virtually or We're hoping in person. So we have high hopes for that in the morning. And if there's no other questions under that section, we will move on to new business.
Dr.
Yes.
Thomas, I forgot to add something in my report.
Okay.
We didn't have any correspondence, but we did have one public records request. We received a request from the Freedom Foundation for employee information on hire date and income. This request is received yearly by a majority of political subdivisions in the state of Ohio. So we weren't singled out. It's everybody has to do this. So. And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Alrighty, we're going to move on to new business. Item number 2020-040, authorization to apply for the FEMA Public Assistance Grant Program and appointing an authorized agent.
This is Keith. So moved.
Tiffany, second.
Okay, I can speak to this a little bit. So I think I did send a little bit out, and this is something Lisa and I have been working on to, try to recoup some of these costs. So later on, you're going to be considering the additional cleaning services for Gurgley's, and all of those costs are associated with COVID-19. So we're just trying to figure out and find ways to get some of that money back, and we're combing the world looking for grants, and this FEMA grant will help us. But this is, and typically it would be the CFO, but in this case, it makes sense for continuity for me to do it for us.
Any other questions about that? If not, we'll do roll call.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Ms. McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Snipes,
Yes.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Ms. Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-041, authorization to participate in the Shared Work Ohio program.
This is Millie, so moved first.
Keith, second.
Are there any questions about this?
Isn't Michael going to speak to it?
Yeah, I can give you a quick update. We applied for the program on April 30th, and their timeline at that point was to get back to us within a week, and true to their word, they got back on May 7th, asking us, saying that, or telling us that our application was in process and they wanted to know a start date, which I put down for May 18th. And exactly 1 week later, late in the day on the 14th, last Thursday, we got our approval from Shared Work. And that allowed us to start on Sunday, the 17th, for our employees to go in and create their accounts and register. So from Sunday to today, we've been mainly assisting employees with questions that as they go through the registration process. Unlike March or probably most of April, ODJFS has really ramped up their capabilities. So even when folks call now, they don't get through right away, but they get through fairly quickly compared to the horror stories that we heard back a few months ago where people would dial in for weeks. So most of our employees are already registered, have their accounts created, and the last few are working through that. So they have 7 days to get on there. And then starting next week, I will look back at this week, and I have to go in weekly and verify that everybody worked their 50%, and then the employees verify that. So that's the way it will continue while we're in the program. But so far, the Shared Work has kept to their timelines, and our approval went through in the time expected. And so we're off to a good start. So I was really a little bit apprehensive that a lot of employees would, because of just sheer numbers of people applying these days, that they'd have a lot of trouble getting registered, but most have not had any trouble at all. So we're in good shape right now where we are.
Michael, this is Gloria. I do have a question. How many people do we have within the library system that are actually using the program?
Everybody except for the managers and a couple folks in the HR fiscal area. So everyone else is on shared work. So roughly 100 right there. But managers, because we're working full time and have been for the last few months, we're accepted from that. So everyone else, except for a few folks that are in the area of the administrative end, are on the shared work.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll take roll.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Miss McClellan,
Yes.
Miss Snipes,
Yes.
Miss Torres,
Yes.
Miss Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-042, approval of seasonal lawn care with reliable lawn service for Avon branches.
This is Keith.
Yes?
So moved.
Monica, second.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, we'll go ahead to roll.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Miss McClellan,
Yes.
Miss Snipes,
Aye.
Miss Torres,
Yes.
Miss Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-043, approval of disinfection and additional cleaning services from Gergel's Maintenance King.
Gloria, so moved.
Monica, second.
Are there any questions for Rick on this particular item? It's all in preparation. Go ahead.
I do actually have a question for Rick. I just wanted to know how much more of a cleaning service has it increased because of the pandemic that we're dealing with?
Well, if you come to, as far as what we're cleaning in that, or compared to services from before?
The services we're doing.
So we're doing more with tighter service now, and I visit each branch 2 or 3 times a week. And the first thing I do is I walk through the door, I check. They have a check system also. They have a worksheet where the supervisor goes out once a week now and sends me her report, and then I compare notes to see what they're doing and what they're not doing. We're doing hard surfaces, of course. They weren't picking up computers and cleaning under them. They didn't pick up people's paperwork and clean their desks. We're doing that now. We're just picking it up. We're putting it down in the same spot, but we're doing more of an invasive cleaning of areas, and the workers seem to be on board with it. If you go through our branches, when I walk through the door, they seem very clean in that. I think you'll see a difference when you come through.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll take roll.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Miss McClellan,
Yes.
Miss Snipes,
Yes.
Miss Torres,
Yes.
Miss Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-044, approval for purchase of self-check machines.
This is Keith. So
Gloria,
moved.
so moved.
Keith, second.
Okay, we can take roll.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Miss McClellan,
Yes.
Miss Snipes,
Yes.
Miss Torres,
Yes.
Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-045, approval of electrical work to support the library on the lake.
Monica, so moved.
Ethel, second.
Are there any questions about this?
I think Rick
I
is the-
actually do. I'd like to have
Yeah.
an update on how's it going with the library. I believe it's supposed to have started too, hasn't it, or has not?
Rick, you're muted.
Is this question for Rick or Anastasia?
Okay, I'm back.
I was thinking it was
Thank
Rick.
you. Thank you.
So they were able to receive delivery of the container. I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. Tuesday, I believe. They received it on their property. They moved it into the building where they're going to be doing the work inside the building. Now they're collecting all the materials as far as the flooring, the wood, and cleaning the material and priming the unit itself. So we're on board with that. We contacted the company who's going to do the wrap. They're going to go out there, take a look at it also. I've contacted the city of Lorraine because of our power needs, and they are in control of the lights in the parking lot, and that's where we want to get our drop from to feed the unit on the lake and that. We've already had a contractor go out there, take a look and see how they're going to remove it from the truck, take it down the side of the hill, and place it on the beach itself and that. As far as the Metro Parks, they've already conveyed that they're going to be building out a ADA compliant ramp to the unit, like a small boardwalk to cover the front of that unit right up to where we're going to place it at. So that's where we're at.
Hey, Rick, how close is it to the lake? I guess I didn't realize it's near that lake. How
You
close?
know, have you been to Lakeview Park and know where the kids section is? Well,
Kind
it's
of.
off the kids section is more on the east side
Right,
where
okay.
the beach runs out at. We're probably going to be 30 feet to the west of that, right along the boardwalk there.
Okay.
So it's
I
a
haven't been
good
over there.
view. It's a good- Yeah, you'll
Has
be
there
able to see
been
from
much
up top.
erosion? You know, like, I live on the lake and it's,
No,
I've got
no.
major work going on here.
They'll
Everybody
lose-
else does.
They'll lose quite a bit before we
Okay.
they get close to us and that. So
All right, cool.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then we will do roll.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Ms. McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Ms. Sheeman,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes. Item number 2020-046, revision of the library patron code of conduct.
So moved.
Millie, so moved first.
Who's first? I'm sorry.
Millie,
Okay, thank you.
And
Keith, second.
thank you. Anastasia, would you like to speak anything to
Absolutely.
this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the language that's added in here for pandemic safety is really based on the stay safe order that was issued on April the 30th. So the guidance that face coverings are strongly recommended for people who can safely wear them. So because we're in a situation where a lot of our service that we provide to people is very close contact, we, especially when we're working with folks around computers or, walking them over to the shelf to help them find something, we believe that it's going to be safest for our patrons and for our staff if we temporarily require patrons to wear a face covering while they are in the building. So we have some caveats in here that if this is temporary and, while the health emergency is going on in Ohio. So that is something that's related to right now, but will stay in here beyond, in case this, like we're hearing this whole idea of the dimmer switch, that we'll be in a different position and then we'll be back to doing this kind of thing. And we have some accommodations already written in here. So if there's someone who really physically cannot wear a face covering, we're going to try our best to find a way to accommodate them, whether that is running their materials out to their car curbside, or trying to find a way to help them using a remote desktop if they're working on a computer. But we believe that in everything that we're reading is that face coverings are a really great way to prevent transmission of COVID-19. So, and we have checked it with Jerry Innes at the prosecutor's office as well. And this is totally in line with what other county buildings are doing. So we feel really good that we're protecting both the patrons and the staff by putting this in place.
Hey, Anastasia.
Yeah.
So have you, maybe during your town hall with the employees, but have you, how have you talked to the team about this, and how are they gonna, if there's some issue with someone coming in, it's kind of a jerk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, right. Yeah, actually, of course, because we're hearing about that. But the idea of doing this kind of thing is popular among the staff. So that actually came up during the town hall. So we had a little chat going on this, well, these Zoom meetings. So that actually was proposed in the chat. Someone said, are we gonna require masks? It's on the mind of staff. So another thing, and I think this will go back to that FEMA grant, is that we're looking at putting security in place in all of our buildings. So right now we don't have security services in every location, but at least for a little while, we're going to look at having someone at those places, at least for the first few weeks, just till we see how people react. I think everyone's going to be cool, but I think for our staff, it will help them know that there's someone that can help, because we're seeing these things on the news. We want people to be safe, but on the other hand, I don't want to make staff in a position where they feel their safety, their physical safety is threatened. So it's a really tough road to walk. It's a fine line. It's unfortunate that we're in that, but so we'll look at security, and we believe that we should be able to apply for the reimbursement for those expenses, because we wouldn't be spending it unless we were in this emergency.
No, that's good. I think then the staff will see that you're out protecting them as well, and you get their back.
And that's really what it's about. I mean, that's why we're really phasing in slowly when we open. So we're not going to, in a few weeks, throw open the doors, as I had on that, phased plan. Right now, we're trying to figure out the other essential service, which is helping people with computers. And that's why this is so critical to have in place, so that as we're inviting people into the building again to, work on computers and things, that we just have this in place. And I did want to say too, that we're looking into finding some, individually wrapped surgical masks, like you see, like I think at Menards, you can buy them for $1 or something like that if you don't have one. Just so that in case we do have patrons who are not able to, who don't have a face covering, maybe they forgot it at home or something like that, that we don't want that to be a barrier to them coming into the library. So we're looking at, cheaper ways to be able to provide that kind of face covering for people if we're going to require it.
Yeah, I think that's good. Good. Thanks.
Yeah, the management team and actually the staff has been really good about bringing up all these different points to consider, like access versus safety, and just there's a lot of things to think about, and the staff's been really good. Those have been really good. Hard discussions, but good.
So is it posted? Like, so when I go to Costco, or today I was in Seoul, and I went to Panera with some people, and it's all posted clearly on the door as we're walking in, all the rules and requirements, which is masks and such. Do you have some easy signage in the entrance? Actually,
we were just talking about that yesterday on our management team meeting, because that's a concern for us too, because obviously having it right by the door, we don't want anyone to walk in and then be turned away. We want it to be very clear what we're going to be requiring. So yeah, that's definitely on our list of signage. We have to, develop a whole new group of signage to have in the buildings for a while.
If I'm out there again, I'll take a picture, because I'm like, oh, I wish I took a picture. There was a pretty,
it was
basic, but it was kind of neat how they did it.
Yeah, I saw the Costco one the other day when I was there. I mean, it's and they're enforcing it too. So I haven't seen anybody going nuts in Costco, but I guess I'm not.
Oh, you didn't see the video in Facebook yesterday?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But
Well,
the clerk handled it very well. And was given a lot of kudos for handling it as well as he did, so.
no, it's good. Yeah,
This is
tricky.
Carolyn. I do have a question about the drive-up services.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing curbside right now, but I've been asked when and if there are any intentions of opening up our drive-through, because at least North Ridgeville has a drive-through.
Right. Well, because the one book drop for North Ridgeville is right beyond the drive-up window, we were a little bit concerned about traffic coming through there, especially if folks were walking over to put their things into the book drop. But yeah, the drive-up window will definitely open again, but for at least this phase, we're focusing on curbside and encouraging people to walk over or drive through to drop their books off. But yeah, definitely. It's coming.
Okay. All righty. If there are no other questions, then we'll take roll call.
Dr. Badillo,
Aye.
Colonel Belanger,
Yes.
Ms. McClellan,
Yes.
Ms. Snipes,
Aye.
Ms. Torres,
Yes.
Ms. Sheeman, Dr. Torres, Thomas, I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes. All righty. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank our management staff and our leadership of being so proactive during this time. It's very stressful. Some people are liking what we're all living is to potentially post-traumatic stress disorder because there's so much fear around this. And I think that our leadership and our managers have been trying very hard to meet the needs of our public and also take advantage of grants that are out there and continue programs that we can safely continue. So the board recognizes all of your efforts, and we are all truly grateful that you're doing what you are doing to keep our patrons well supplied with services. The next meeting of this board will be June 18th at 5 p.m. It says main library, but this might be our main library on Zoom. I guess we'll have to see what happens between now and next month. But if not, everyone please stay safe and take care of yourselves as much as you can. And if there is nothing else to come before the board at this time, we will conclude at 5:45 p.m.